Greetings, everyone. This is Jeff Wilkerson, professor of physics at Luther College, bringing you the next in our series of what to look for in the night sky. We're talking about the week of September 22nd this time around. A lot of stuff to cover this week. Always a lot of stuff to cover every week. We're talking about, I'm thinking, well, we don't have that much stuff this week on moon interference or whatever. We don't have moon interference this week. And so we want to get right after it because my goal when we started doing these little short films a long time ago, my goal was 6 to 8 minutes. I thought that was enough time for people to listen to me talk. You'll notice that we're off in 10 or 11 minutes because it's really hard to squeeze all this in. So let's get going. Let's stop talking about how long this is and get going with it. And let's start right here. The equinox is on the 22nd. So for those of us in the northern hemisphere like I am, this is the autumnal equinox. For our friends in the southern hemisphere, it's the vernal equinox, the spring. The start of astronomical spring or the start of astronomical fall. That's going to be at 1:19 p.m. My time, Central Daylight Time, on Monday the 22nd. The sun's here. That means the Earth isn't tilted toward the sun, nor is it tilted away from the sun, but it's tilted this direction, neither away nor toward. And so we don't have, when we're directly toward or away, that's the solstices, and we'll talk about that at a later time. Great moon week. Fantastic moon week. Starts new by the 24th. Evening of the 24th is just 10% full. So go out on the 24th. You're going to have a beautiful 10% full crescent, and it will set early. And so you'll have all night of dark skies still on the 24th. Even by the 27th, we're talking about Saturday, the evening of the 27th, the moon is only a third full, and it's sitting right near the beautiful orange star Antares in Scorpius. So that's a great pairing of a beautiful crescent moon with Antares, and it will set early that night. If you're out at midnight, a third full moon isn't that much moon to wash out the sky anyway. And so by 11 o'clock or midnight, it is well across and not disturbing your observing at all. So this is about as good a week as we can get for observing deep sky objects, and we're going to take advantage of it. So let's talk about it. We'll start with Jupiter. Jupiter we've been seeing in the morning sky, and Jupiter's here, and Venus is here, right? So Venus is getting lower and lower in the sky. And I wanted to talk about Venus this week, but we'll try to talk about it next week because this week filled up with stuff we decided we wanted to talk about. Look at me being an optimist that we'll have time to talk about it next week, but we'll see what happens. Jupiter has been in Gemini. You got two strands of stars, Castor and Pollux, the twin stars, and the lower strand of those in the morning sky that come off Pollux. Jupiter's been in that line, that strand, the legs, the body of the two twins right there. But Jupiter's moving out of that line. And not so much. We've been tracking it next to Wasat. It's one of the stars in the strand stars of Gemini. It's moved away from there, but right now Jupiter sits about 1 degree north. This week, about 1 degree north of an absolutely fantastic planetary nebula, NGC 2392. And NGC 2392, we've talked about planetary nebulae a lot this summer and fall, so go back and look at some of those videos and see that and compare what we're talking about here. It's about a 40 arc-second diameter planetary nebula. This is a star, a low-mass star like the sun, that has blown off its outer layers. Those outer layers expanding into space give us a donut of light, and that donut of light is what we see as the planetary nebula. And at the core, at the middle of that, is the core star that's left over. That's a white dwarf star, and this has a 10th magnitude white dwarf star. So 40 arc seconds is a great size because if it gets too much bigger, oftentimes the light gets so spread out it's hard to see. It's faint. And if it gets too much smaller, it's hard to see the donut. It's hard to see that it's an expanding shell of gas. It just looks like a big star. And so this is a really good object. And 10th magnitude white dwarf star you should be able to see in most telescopes. And you can get there right now because Jupiter just sits 1 degree north. So find Jupiter, get it on the edge of your field of view as you move the telescope south, and then just keep sliding a little bit and see if you can't find this planetary nebula. If that's all you do this week, that's a victory week. You've observed Jupiter, and you've observed a beautiful planetary nebula, and you've seen some waxing crescent moon. That's fantastic. But let's do more. Let's go to Pegasus in the evening sky. Pegasus is the iconic marker of the fall sky. So as we cross the autumnal equinox here in the northern hemisphere, let's look at Pegasus. It's the iconic marker of the spring sky if you're far enough south, but you start to lose it to the north a little bit there. But it's this great square. All of these are bright stars. The stars that are in the middle of that square are so much fainter you don't really see them. So you see this square pop out. The upper right star, the northwest corner star in that great square is Beta Pegasi. Shea is a 2.4 magnitude star. Big, bright, beautiful star. As we move up this direction, I think of that as an arm of Pegasus, but obviously it's more likely to be a wing of the winged horse. About 5 degrees, half a fist width at arm's length, you come to Eta. Eta is Matar, is the name of that star. It's a nice bright 2.9 magnitude star. So you should be able to hop from Sheat to Matar. And Eta, we've talked about spectroscopic binaries a lot too, because we enjoy thinking about those as they come by. These are two stars that are orbiting each other so close you can't see that there are two stars there, but you can tell in the spectrum. When you spread the light out into the component colors and you look at the dark lines, the absorption lines in the spectra of those stars, you'll see two sets of lines, one that'll be shifted toward the blue as the star comes toward you, but then the other star is moving away from you simultaneously, so you see the line shifted to the red, longer wavelength from what you would expect, shorter wavelength from what you expect. And then they trade places and they move around. This is an 820-day spectroscopic binary. So this is a longer period spectroscopic binary than a lot of them that we've looked at. But what we want to think about now, if we move from Matar about 4 1/3 degrees up this direction to make a triangle with Pi. Pi, we didn't talk about Pi, did we? Pi is the star that's out here on the end of this arm, the end of this wing, a nice 4.3 magnitude star, about 7.5 degrees from Matar. But up this direction, that 4 1/3 degrees or so, there are a couple of galaxies for us to pull out. But really, there's a lot of galaxies. The biggest, brightest of those galaxies, the easiest one for you to see as you move up this direction is NGC 7331. And I'm thinking of it as a pair with NGC 7317, and that pair is about 1/2 degree separation. So you can see both of those together in the same eyepiece, except that 7317 is pretty hard to see. It's a 13.6 magnitude star galaxy. 7371 is a 10.4 magnitude galaxy, much easier, much bigger, much brighter. It's a foreground galaxy relative to most of the galaxies in this area. 7371, so go try to find it. Big spiral galaxy, beautiful spiral galaxy. Interesting fact about it, on July 14th of this year, we discovered a supernova explosion in there. Remember, supernova is a star that's a high mass star, not like the star that made NGC 2392, not like the sun. Higher mass star can blow itself completely apart, and that's what happened in the supernova explosion that we first saw on July 14th of this year. It's bright enough, probably you can still see it in your telescope when you're looking at this, certainly in images. You would see it, but you can't tell, I don't think, because there are so many foreground Milky Way stars there that are just as bright. That it's hard, unless you know that region of the sky really well, it's hard to tell where the supernova is out there. And so this is great and fun to see, but NGC 7317 is a member of a group that's very famous, Stephan's Quintet. And Stephan's Quintet, it just happens to be the one that's closest to 7371. But as you track on from there, you've got 5 galaxies that are really close together and often show up. Whatever imaging you're doing, you got your smart telescope and you're taking pictures, you should be able to get images of all 5 of these in there. If you've got a, I don't know, let's say a 16-inch telescope, you should start to be able to see these galaxies in the eyepiece of your 16-inch telescope with nice low-power magnification. 7320, biggest and brightest member of the group of Stephan's Quintet. It's a foreground galaxy. The other 4, 7319, 73A and B, 2 galaxies interacting, and 7317 are all clumped together in space. They're all part of a group, part of a small, tiny, like, cluster of galaxies together orbiting around the same center of mass. And so they're all part of a group. 7320 is foreground and bigger and brighter. And so go see if you can find that. So if you got a big enough telescope, go ahead and look for it by eye. If you got a smart telescope and you're taking pictures, see if you can get a picture of all of these galaxies. It's going to be great. Then 7331 itself, even closer than 7317, there's a whole bunch of other galaxies right up next to 73331. If you take a picture of 7331, you might start to see these galaxies appear around there. 7326, 7336, 7335, 7340, 7337, 7325. There may be more, but these are NGC numbers, and these are all really faint galaxies next to NGC 7331, and you can start to try to pick those off. If you've got a 20-inch telescope and really good, clear, transparent skies, you might be able to start to see a number of these galaxies. So that's what we got for you. We got a whole bunch of galaxies in Pegasus out there. We got a beautiful planetary nebula in Gemini. You got Jupiter and you got the moon, and it should be a great week. As always, everyone, thanks for watching and have a fantastic week ahead.